within the confines of the internet, wages a massive war of attrition. No, not a war in the typical sense, an unofficial war between red and blue. That's right, I'm talking about the red-blue pill war, one of the saddest conflicts in internet lore. Honestly, if you unironically say you're a red pill or blue pill, I will not take you seriously at all. Now, with that said, before you start piling hate on me, I'm not actually saying there's anything inherently wrong with holding red pill or blue pill ideologies. In fact, there's actually a lot of legitimate reasons to be, quote, red pill, unquote. Just as there are plenty of reasons to be, quote, blue pill. Anyway, the entire basis of this war is that one side holds more traditional values in dating while the other one doesn't. Now, this should be perfectly fine, right? Well, sadly no, because the leaders of the red pill side are super insecure, quick to anger losers that not only poison the mind of their younger red pillars, but they've also nuked the movement to the point that it is considered a sexist, misogynistic hate group that wants to enslave women or something. I've been following this war for a while now, dating back to 2019, back when the red pill was mostly referred to as MGTOW, also known as men going their own way. Honestly, as soon as 2020 hit, it seems the entire namesake has just been dropped and has moved on to something else entirely. That, or they're like a subset, faction, splinter cell group of the red pill, and the internet doesn't seem to care about them anymore. It was actually a pretty decent group back in the day, with, while not the best example of leaders, had a pretty good message that combats this disgusting view in society that a man's worth is if he's dating someone or is married. MGTOW was created as a response to that, as essentially a way of saying it's okay to be single in your later years, you don't need to be married if you don't want to. However, there was a bit of an issue. The bigger kingpins of the group, like Strong Successful Male, Better Bachelor, Think Before You Sleep, and several others, have completely devolved the movement to essentially use it as an excuse to find very specific instances of women doing bad things to men, then warping the narrative to women bad. That's not to say that all their content was that, but the most popular stuff was them using specific stories, not their stories, but stories they found from women on the internet who's having a midlife crisis because she's in her 30s now and isn't married, usually saying that it's her slutty past that's the issue, and using that as the bulk of their argument. Now, yes, ultimately, at the end of the day, it is the fault of the female in particular for choosing to sleep around instead of learning to have a relationship. But the problem isn't that she's single. The problem is that the MGTOW guys essentially used it as ammo to fire at said woman and any other female close to 30 that's not married, basically saying, you're a whore, you don't deserve to have a loving husband or family, you deserve to die alone, you slut. There is a huge difference between a girl who posted a sob story on some website about her having a midlife crisis in her 30s because she was a party girl to a girl who's just either had terrible luck or just isn't interested in getting married yet, and seeing her as nothing more than a failed human being. Because, ironically enough, despite the point of MGTOW being that it's okay to be single and you're still important to society, they ironically used the single status of women as a way to shit on them. This is actually the sole reason I left the community and will never go back. Because the leaders that I watched for a while never actually gave me advice about being a content single man. They instead constantly said if I marry a woman who's in her 30s, I'm marrying a slut that will never actually love me, even though that's not even close to true, and just continually went down in a fit of rage about how bad and evil women secretly are. I mean, for fuck's sake, I remember a video from Strong Successful Male who read a story about how a guy married an ex-porn star, something she hid from him, and after they had a fight about it, a very reasonable fight but questionable tactics used in the fight, the man still wanted to be married to her, and Strong Successful Male was genuinely surprised that the husband might actually love the woman he married, despite the fact she was a porn star in the past. I mean, seriously, just look at some of these channels. They all use whatever topic they cover as an excuse to just rag on women for the sake of ragging on women.
Smoke? What are you looking for? Nigga, what you mean?
Dated nigga, what's up?
Oh, you want a man? Suck my man. I don't need no man.
Been good though? Oh yeah, what? Yeah, straight?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're really good.
That's
Yeah, you're really good. I got a bigger dick than you, man. Yo, shut the fuck up with your masculine ass voice and read the chats, yo. Get the fuck up out of here.
And sadly, this has not changed at all with the new alpha males movement. Now, I have no idea if there's supposed to be a separate group or whatever, but guys like Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, Donovan Sharp, and many, many others are just making things worse for the Red Pill movement. Now instead, they just try to sell you a scam and have long, boring podcasts that barely cover anything about being a better man, and instead invite either tons of guys to circle jerk each other about how much they dislike modern Western women.
There's been scenarios where a girl hasn't acted quite right over something small, not a big transgression like cheating.
then I continued to see her, but my demeanor towards her changed, and my demeanor towards her didn't change much in day-to-day life, right? But it changed when we had sex, and she smelt it and she could feel it, and it hurt her bad, and she got her ass in line fast. He used to kiss me, he used to hug me afterwards. These small things. You go from all that nice shit to just fucking her like she's, but not in a good way like she's nothing, in a bad way like she's nothing. The real G's know what I'm saying here. There's a difference.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
And you'll speak to this about, it's because in that moment you have her in her most vulnerable place.
That's right. That's right. That's
place.
Women are most programmable. Because all women are programmed, and I want to say this. Maybe I'll be a misogynist now.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I said this in another podcast. I believe that men are more capable of independent thought because I believe that men are more evolved for battle and war. So if we had an idea which nobody else agreed with, we're more capable of defending it. We've evolved to saying, no, the sky's blue, it's not green.
Look, it's RB551. No wonder he got blasted. He's one of those older models programmed by a central computer. Not us. We're independent thinkers. Roger, 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 roger.
Or they invite dozens of women they explicitly hate and just use their platform to berate and insult them. It's not even mean. It's just sad. These are supposed to be leaders of single men. They're supposed to be role models to these guys who are just feeling left out about not having much success in dating. But they aren't that. They're just bitter and angry. They were either the guys who were never told no by anyone in their lives, or they were just the quiet kid in high school that never got noticed, but after graduating started working out and getting in shape, gaining confidence, and using that newfound confidence to exact revenge like there's some cartoon bad guy. It's just sad. But it gets even better, because most of these guys end up getting married to girls in their 30s, who they claim have had lots of sex with other men before them. Or they've gone on record saying they've never been in a long-term relationship. And when they get called out on their bullshit, or when they're insulted after insulting women, they lash out and lose control of themselves trying to compensate for something. It's just so ridiculous. What's even funnier is they essentially encourage men to do the things to women that they use to hate women for. These morons promote hookup culture. They proudly boast that they have these courses you can take that will make you irresistible to 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret supermodels, so you can just fuck once and then move on to the next one. Oh, but God forbid you marry one of these women. No self-respecting man would ever marry a girl who's had sex before. But oh yeah, it's perfectly fine to stick my dick in there just once because I'm horny and need a hookup. Like, I kinda get it, but it's also really, really shallow. Like, yeah, okay, if you spend your 20s hooking up with everyone you meet, and hookup culture is something else entirely I plan on covering one day, not taking the time to learn how to have a relationship with someone, yeah, that's a huge red flag to me. But that goes across the board. Male, female, non-binary, whatever. Doesn't matter. If you're not taking the time to learn to have a relationship, that tells me you're not mentally capable of having a meaningful long-term relationship, or you just don't care. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Some people just aren't meant to be in a long-term romantic relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. But on the opposite side, it's also a red flag, or maybe a yellow flag, if you're in your 30s and you're still a virgin or have not been in a relationship before. Now, me personally, I just want to wait to have sex when I'm married, or at the very least in a dedicated long-term relationship with someone. Partially for religious reasons, but mostly just because it doesn't seem appealing at all to have copious amounts of sex with someone very early on in the relationship, when things are more likely to go sour. In conjunction, getting past the honeymoon phase and the relationship's still going strong is a pretty good sign that the relationship might last. But I digress. We're not here to talk about me, we're here talking about other people. There's an even bigger problem with all this. Setting aside the idiotic leaders, the movement itself just could never be stopped because of the idiots on the other side. The blue pill, which I'm using to refer to any active participant that's only focusing on anti-red pill stuff, directly or indirectly, are making it worse. Yes, most of the red pill leaders are losers. There's just enough evidence of that. The problem is that they all have little bits of truth within their arguments that are just enough to sway someone. See, here's the thing. Most men will not be successful in dating. It's just reality. A lot of guys will graduate high school, without having been on a date, feeling left out, insecure about themselves entering college or the workforce, a virgin, thinking they missed out on a critical part of life. Most of society enforces that. Society itself really seems to hate virgin men. A lot try to say that's not true, but it is. Sure, there's not some oppressive movement targeting virgins, but it's just internet culture itself, which is incredibly difficult to avoid in this modern day. It really does go after virgin men, using them as the butt of jokes, saying they're less of a man for not being with a hot chick, loser, and incel even, all this crap, because they haven't gotten their dick wet yet. I mean, that's draining on a person, even if the insults aren't 100% directed at you specifically. I mean, in my personal experience in high school, a major thing that happened to me was prom. Not because I went, but because I didn't. I didn't want to go. And everyone and their dog suddenly thought I was weirder than normal for not even entertaining that notion of going. Throughout prom season, my friends, their parents, even many of my female classmates were consistently pushing for me to ask someone to prom. Even after I repeatedly said, no, I'm not doing that. This got even worse my senior year, where I was incredibly concrete on saying no. Everyone tried to guilt trip me, saying I needed to not be so selfish, that it would be the highlight of a girl's high school experience, saying that it would be an awesome memory for me to look back on years from now, especially since that would have been essentially my first date. Because, that's totally something I'd want to remember years from now, dancing with some girl from high school for one night. Yeah, there's more to prom than that, that's not the point. But anyway, I wasn't falling for that crap, and said that if a girl really wanted to go to prom with me, they could very much ask me themselves. And when that argument came out, the counter from everyone else was, it's a boy's choice dance. So basically what I took away from that was not going to prom meant I failed high school. And I was seen as a selfish asshole by many for not asking someone, even though my options were girls I had never talked to once in my life, and not even caring that I did not want to go at all. So yeah, I get the red pill. That alone was just rough. The guilt tripping, the gaslighting, everything. And then people wonder why insecure guys listen to people like Andrew Tate. Even if someone like Andrew Tate might have actually ended up giving him some genuine advice, now all of a sudden he's seen as a hateful, misogynistic incel. There's no winning here. Yeah, I spent the last few minutes shitting on these creators. That doesn't mean that they don't have some advice to give, that they can and have helped some people. That's not the point either. The point is that society will say there's something wrong with a lonely man, but when he takes taboo advice from red pill men, he's an incel who doesn't deserve to actually get married because this isn't how you get better. They're bad people. I'm not here to offer any solutions. I'm here to tell you that you're a horrible person for listening to them. Yeah, Andrew Tate's a human trafficker. Screw him. Now he's completely irrelevant from the rest of this video. Those who oppose the red pill as a whole aren't actually trying to help these lonely men. They're just mad that this advice is coming from someone else, specifically since they give the opposite advice to people. It's a no-win scenario. Blue pill leaders like Shalon Lester, or women like Natalie Decker, or some lady on a British news channel, or the hundreds of people who laughed at Jordan Peterson for crying on the same news station, just reinforces these arguments the red pill makes. Those that oppose it are not here to offer solutions. They're mad people are listening to other people that could help them. Yeah, Jordan Peterson has some terrible takes on politics, but that's not the point. If we take his politics aside, he's actually a pretty good role model who goes out of his way to try to help these depressed, lonely, single men not only be okay with themselves, but overcome this. And apparently that's a bad thing. A YouTuber named Courtney Ryan has a great video that showcases how lost a lot of women are, and how a lot of people see no issue at all with this. And yes, this is not even close to a reflection of all women, nor are the red pill leaders a reflection of all men or even all red pill followers. Much like with Courtney's video, a lot of what red pill guys say is a good enough reason to, on the surface, say it's a bad thing or everyone's like that. But that's just not how the world works. While women in these videos are generally encouraged to not give up on that dream, a guy wanting a 10 out of 10 woman that stays at home and cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids is bad, wrong, misogynistic, victimizing the man and making him listen to the alpha males more. It's an unending cycle no one wants to actually help. One side says something like this is perfectly okay for women to do to men.
I'm so disappointed in you, though.
Why?
You're going to go your best friend a day after breaking up with your boyfriend. That means you wanted to your best friend while you were dating your boyfriend.
It's kind of more complicated, like, absolutely not! Don't buy your own drink, lady! Find an old man! Sugar daddy! A sugar daddy! Someone buys them for me? You have to either pop a titty
You be popping titties for drinks? Damn, I ain't never had that happen to me.
I'm trying to see what that be like.
80%, someone else buys them for me.
Who's someone else?
A guy.
So how are you getting these drinks?
He wouldn't stop for your drinks.
Interesting.
People buy them.
Who's people?
Just random people who come up to me.
If you're not buying your own drinks, how are you getting drinks?
My good charm, my lovely personality.
What personality?
Oh, there it is.
But when the men says something slightly controversial, it's all over for them. People like me are entering the world lost and confused. People my age are not dating as much. Not in my town. No, almost everyone I know is getting married because we're all Mormon here. But as a whole, people my age are not dating. They're not trying to find a partner. They're instead just giving up on the dating game because it's not worth it. Girl might find a great guy and it turns out he's a staunch Donovan Sharp fan. Or a guy might find a great girl but she's a staunch Shallon Lester fan. And they're so indoctrinated into these ideologies that there's no hope for them. The red and blue pill are not the reasons that dating is much harder now in the world. But they are reasons why it's not getting better. The red pill was created to counter the dumb, outlandish, sad, and crazy stuff that became commonplace with radicals in the feminist movement and the advent of online dating. The blue pill rose to try to counter the red pill. It doesn't offer any alternatives, but instead just protects the things that are being argued over, leaving the next generation of adults lost and confused, with the constant attacks from people who hate the red pill without even trying to get the truth out, instead just firing on all cylinders because you think you have the ammo, but the powder is soaked. You now have people who will fight tooth and nail to try to make sure people aren't falsely accused of doing something bad, especially now when all eyes are on the red pill community after Tate was arrested. Now everyone is waiting at the front lines for something to happen, ready to pounce the second something new comes up. And what does that leave us in the end? A marriageless, loveless society that is too afraid to associate positivity with the other sex. Now, is there a solution? Can this be fixed? Yes, but it'll take a long time. But seeing as Abba and Preach are now currently running into some more drama with a bunch of fragile red pill alphas, it's going to take a lot more time to fix, because these alphas clearly don't want to try to fix anything if all they do is want to cause more fights for anyone who calls them out. And on the opposite side, no one wants to take accountability for encouraging their bad behavior, screaming it's empowerment or something to just be a total ass to virgin men. I truly believe the major players on either side have been hurt so badly that they only want others to be as broken and hurt as them.